I am Paul Matthews. I'm the Executive Director and CEO of the Worcester Regional Research Bureau. Thank you. All right. The applause all should go to my colleagues, Eric Nayland in the back, Josh Boucher in the back, and Anthony Clough at the timing table with me. You're looking at all four of us. This is an important commitment by the Research Bureau to promote civic engagement. And we want to thank our partners in this, the Telegram and Gazette, which is represented at the moderating table tonight by my colleague Mike McDermott and his colleague Rick, who does a phenomenal job on visual arts. I also want to thank Mechanics Hall for really being a tremendous partner and host. We think it's vitally important. These debates are part of the Bureau's mission of informing the public and promoting civic engagement. And we take that responsibility very seriously, as does Mechanics Hall and the Telegram. So they're perfect partners. And I want to introduce our colleague, Megan Montaner, who's going to say a few remarks on behalf of Mechanics Hall.
Good evening and welcome to Mechanics Hall. It's my pleasure to welcome the Worcester Regional Research Bureau, the Telegram and Gazette, and tonight's candidates to our space. Mechanics Hall in Worcester isn't just a performance venue. It's a living symbol of civic engagement. Opened in 1857 by the Worcester County Mechanics Association, it was created to empower working-class citizens through education, innovation, and public dialogue. Throughout its history, it's hosted powerful voices like Frederick Douglass and Susan B. Anthony, making it a stage for key social reforms. Today, we open our doors to town halls, nonprofit events, and cultural forums that bring the community together, demonstrating how a space can actively support democracy by connecting citizens to causes greater than themselves. We're grateful for the opportunity to host the debates again this year. Welcome.
I also want to thank the other media outlets hard at work here, including Manage A Media, WCCA, which will be rebroadcasting this, Ernie Floyd from Unity Radio next door. And it's important to remind everyone, thank you for coming tonight. I know there is actually, ironically, another debate tonight for District 5, so we appreciate those of you who came out from the mayoral debate. I want to thank all of you watching at home. The level of streaming of these debates increases every 2-year cycle. And with all the new outlets covering this, Manage A and WCCA, there's a lot of additional downloads going on. So there's a lot of people paying attention. I want to thank our three candidates for making a priority to be here tonight and to promote informed dialogue with the voters. And just to cover a few ground rules, I'm going to ask you, all of you in attendance, please remember this is not an audience engagement mechanism or a town hall. We're here to give full respect to the statements by each of the candidates. I would note the moderators are not to blame for the questions. Those are in fact authored by the Worcester Regional Research Bureau. And I want to thank our moderators, who are Mary Beth Campbell, head of the Community Action Council, Kendra Cantrell, Chair of the Citywide Parent Planning Advisory Council, and Mike McDermott, the Executive Editor of the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. So the format for tonight is going to be 2-minute opening statements from each candidate, followed by 12 questions and responses. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to each question, and there'll be 1-minute closing statements from each candidate. In an effort to remind everyone of time, my colleague Anthony and I will be holding up signs. We're going to get to when we get to the black stop, that's followed by the red stop, which all three of you know from the at-large debate. And then at that point, I'll stand up and the moderators and I will ask you to stop. So we look forward to a full informed discussion tonight. I want to thank the candidates for not only being here, but being on the ballot, which I know is an ambitious undertaking in a good year, and this is not necessarily the easiest year to be on the ballot. And I want to thank all of you for being so engaged in our mayoral election this year. So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Mike and the moderators to take it away.
All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to start with 2-minute opening statements, and first up will be Ora.
Good evening. My name is Ora Kwekusa-Kodie, and I'm running for mayor of Worcester because I believe our city deserves leadership that is honest, transparent, and accountable to the people, not the insiders. For more than a decade, Joe Petty has led Worcester. And in that time, we've seen rising housing costs, deepening inequality, and growing mistrust in City Hall. We've had the Department of Justice investigation into our police department for patterns of misconduct and lack of accountability. That didn't happen overnight. It happened because for too long, leadership turned a blind eye instead of facing problems head on. Worcester needs a new mayor, and the time is now. Someone who will tell the truth even when it's uncomfortable. I believe transparency is the foundation of trust. I'll make sure City Hall decisions are open to public scrutiny and that residents have a real seat at the table, not just during election season. On housing, I'll fight to make Worcester a place where working families, young people, and seniors can actually afford to live. We can't call ourselves a thriving city if our teachers, nurses, and first responders can't afford rent. I'll push for affordable housing on city-owned land, stronger tenant protections, and partnerships that make development serve residents, not developers. This election isn't just about changing mayors. It's about changing direction. It's about choosing transparency over politics, affordability over luxury projects, and accountability over excuses. I'm running because I believe Worcester deserves better, and together we can build a city that is fair, affordable, and transparent for all. Thank you.
Okay, 2-minute opening statement. Next up is Joe.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I want to thank the Research Bureau and all the crowd that came in tonight. Thank you for being here. Being mayor, my record is about steady leadership and real results. This city has transformed over the last 10 to 15 years, and I've been part of that as a leader here in the city of Worcester, and it shows. The growth in Worcester since the last census was 30,000, 14% increase, 30,000 new residents here in the city of Worcester. And that's because we address the quality of life issues every day here in this city. We look at the quality of life issues, public safety. We're still one of the best cities our size for public safety, whether it be police and fire, providing public safety to our residents. We're rated in the top ratings every year here across the country, compared across the country. Schools. People come here because of the schools. We've built, you count Burncoat and Burncoat Mill coming in, we have invested over $1.2 billion in the Worcester Public Schools since I've been mayor. And that's important. That's why people come here. We built a new South, a new Doherty High School. It's made a difference. Nelson Place School. We look at the parks. We've invested in the open space parks over $100 million here in the city of Worcester. And it makes a difference. And that's why people stay here since I've been mayor. And that makes a difference. That's a quality of life issue, making sure people are well taken care of here in the city of Worcester. We look at we have our challenges, no question about that. We'll try to be addressing housing. I'm sure we'll be talking about that tonight. The unhoused, but also streets, sidewalks, and traffic here in the city of Worcester needs to be addressed in the next couple of years. Also continue the infrastructure here in the Worcester Public Schools. We've done a great job doing that, looking at the public health and wellness of everybody here in the city of Worcester. As mayor, I'll continue with my record. I have the energy to do it. I love this city, and I will continue serving the residents and the people of Worcester. Thank you.
And 2-minute opening statement, Christian.
Thank you. My name is Christian King. I'm asking for your vote for mayor. Every chapter in a city changes, it turns, and eventually moves on. What Worcester needs now is a new sort of leadership, one that's built on the progress that we've made and tackles challenges that we can't afford to ignore. I'll acknowledge there is things that have gone the right way, but that does not make up for the systemic and structural failures that are occurring in the city. I provided leadership during these challenging times. You'll hear a lot tonight about steady leadership. But what does that really mean? You can't call it steady leadership when families can't afford a place to live. You can't call it steady leadership when residents have to fight to be heard by their own government. Steady leadership should not mean stuck. Steady for who? Steady has been stuck with rising rents. Folks are stuck with silence from City Hall. Folks are stuck waiting for responsiveness. Folks are stuck on our streets, sidewalks, and in potholes. Worcester needs a mayor that's not just a caretaker, that's not just a cheerleader, that's a catalyst. I've spent the last 10 years preparing myself for that sort of leadership. Too often, under Mayor Petty, this city has reacted only after public pressure. We've seen City Hall shut down. We've seen folks now who feel they have a lack of access to City Hall. Right now, in this historical moment, we sit in the midst of national and politics impacting the local, where folks are afraid for their next meal. We can't have a mayor that has our head in the sand and ignores the fact that all politics are local.
Thank you, candidates. I have the pleasure of doing the first question. You'll each have 1 minute to answer this question, and the topic is regarding school quality. We'll start with Joe, then Christian, then Aura. The question is, what metrics do you look at to determine school quality, and what would you do to improve the real or perceived quality of the district? You have 1 minute, starting with Joe.
That's what we're doing right now with that strategic plan here in the city of Worcester. We have a street which we're falling. We put that in place 3 years ago. And we're getting at the family engagement. That's one of the most important things. And we have a rubrics. I don't know if people realize that. We have a rubrics that's set by DESE, Department of Education here in the state of Massachusetts. And we go over that every year. We give the superintendent an evaluation. Our test scores are up. Our scores are going in the right direction here in the city of Worcester for our students because we work cooperatively together here in the city. And we're going to make sure that this city is going in the right direction when it comes to our schools. There's no question about it's going in the right direction. The students are going in the right directions because of the decisions I've made, making sure we have the right superintendents in place. And I think Brian Allen, the current superintendent, is doing a great job. He's going to bring the students to the next level because it is all about the kids. It's all about the education.
Thank you. Christian?
Thank you. Schools is important. I'm proud to be a current father of my baby girl who's here, who's 8 years old and attends Worcester Public Schools dual language programming, and the father of 3 girls, one of also who's a graduate of Worcester Public Schools. What I'm willing to do is fight. We know that right now, the report just came out from Mass Inc. That asks and identifies that our local gateway city high schools are all underfunded. We know that 60% of the low-rated schools are in these gateway cities, and that to fix the infrastructure, to fix our facilities, it's going to take 50 years to replace these buildings in Massachusetts. We have to coalesce with our other gateway city leaders and fight for more funding on the state level.
Thank you. Aura?
Okay, so as someone who has been a substitute teacher in the Worcester Public Schools, I've seen a lot. So Mayor Petty keeps pointing to new skills that we've built, and yes, they look great, but let's be honest, shiny buildings don't fix broken systems. You can't build your way out of an achievement gap. So after 12 years of Petty's leadership, Worcester has come out with the worst racial and economic disparities in education in the state. Kids in some neighborhoods are thriving while others are falling further behind. That's not progress, that's neglect. It's easy to cut a ribbon. It's easy to cut a ribbon and call it success, but real leadership means asking the hard questions. Why are our students still struggling? Why are teachers overwhelmed? Why do families feel unheard? We don't need another photo op. We need accountability, transparency, and urgency. And as mayor, I'll make sure every dollar spent actually improves student outcomes, not just the optics. Worcester deserves a leader who cares about closing those achievement gaps, not cutting ribbons.
Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. The next question is in regards to school funding. We'll start with Christian, then we'll move to Joe, and then finish with Aura. With probable budget cuts from the federal government and the state's undervalued inflation factor, Worcester Public Schools may have persistent budget challenges. What programs, initiatives, or line items do you prioritize for the schools, and how do you communicate school funding issues to the City Council? Christian.
Thank you. I think the communication to the city council is extremely important. What we've seen over the last few years is we've had the union membership, we've had students, we've had parents advocating and coming to city council without the nexus. The mayor is the chair of the school committee and the city council, and that communication simply hasn't happened on any consistent basis from Mayor Petty. One of the things that I'd like to do is advocate once again, we have to build coalitions with similar sized cities, similar leaders. We're the second largest city in New England. Increase our MSBA funding. We have to prioritize our inadequate buildings. Mayor Petty voted against accessing additional public buildings for our public schools, our special ed department, our special ed students, our English language learners. They need more, and we have to do more.
Thank you. Joe?
I'm not sure what city I live in, but I disagree with my two opponents and what they're saying about the Worcester Public Schools and the advocacy and the. But I'll be very clear on this. I've been a leader in this Worcester Public Schools. When we go on the Student Opportunity Act, that was done because of me as a leader here in the city of Worcester, threatened to sue the state. And you want to talk about ribbon cuttings? You know how hard that is to get the new schools built here? You need to know people. You need to make contacts. You think South High was just done because someone just said South High was going to be done, or Doherty High? Do you know one of my proudest moments is, and it's not really written about? When I took over as mayor, we had 27 schools that were built in the PCB timeframe. 27, 25 to 27. We have 3 that are left that were built in that time frame. And that was all going to be, and 2 of those, one today, well, no, by the way, the accelerated repair program done today, Rice Square was approved today, along Belmont Street, and Burncoat will be done. That leaves us 1 school in my time as mayor here in the city of Worcester.
Thank you, Joe. Aura?
So what happens during difficult times is, as families, we sit together and we talk about what items are a priority. So I'll advocate for transparency during those difficult times to make sure that the mayor is communicating to the school and to families and to the city council. And certain things such as our teachers' pay are a priority. I want to make sure that our teachers are well paid, and I also want to make sure that after school programs are untouched. And I also see that targeted spending with required results. Thank you.
Okay, the next question is also in regard to schools. We're going to start with Aura and then go to Christian and then to Joe. The question is, Worcester Public Schools Administration submitted a mastery-based grading policy that establishes a uniform grading standard across all high schools. Do you support the proposed policy? What would you like to see in the grading policy, and how would you implement it?
Okay, I think the grading policy is, I don't support it, because I think as a substitute teacher, like I said, I've seen so many schools that are lacking the resources that are needed. So grading everyone on a uniform policy, I think, is very disproportionate, and it's very unfortunate. So I would support, let's say, different policy. And I also want to make sure that the schools that are not getting the good results, the good resources, are not being tested on the same level as others that are getting. I see the disparity between the zip codes, and it is something that I would not support, that grading policy. Thanks.
Christian.
I'm open to a uniform grading policy. I think we really have to rely on our teachers, our educators, our frontline folks to guide us along with our parents and our students. And as important as those policies are, we have to have learning environments that are conducive to teaching, that are conducive to learning. And I'm glad my opponent brought up Rice Square School. I did a reading event there last year, and we actually have children learning in hallways. Their classrooms are in hallways, in former closets, in former rooms. And we've turned a blind eye to that. And in fact, I've voted to advance strategic planning using city properties to meet student and educational needs, while Joe Petty has failed to act on those school facilities planning, citing costs.
Joe.
No, I support the mastery plan. It's in the process right now. By the end of the year, the school committee will take a vote. We need to have competencies in place since the MCAS is gone, and they have to be consistent in every school. You can't have different rules for different schools. And middle schools, we're starting in the high schools and we'll go to the middle school next year. We're working with the unions to get that done now. Be very clear. Rice Square School, nothing's been done. People should know what they're talking about. Rice Square School, we moved the
closets.
I'm speaking. We moved the 6th grade school to East Middle, 6th grade class to East Middle, opened up schools this year, they opened it up there. We saw the problem there, we saw the issues. We had people moving into the city because people want to move in the city because they see the leadership in the city and what's been done, and they want to bring their families into Worcester Public Schools. You want to make sure they get a good education, exactly what we're doing. And I've never voted not to matter of fact, you talk to Tim McGurthy, he's ready to lose the rest of his hair because all the money was spent on the Worcester Public Schools, whether it be Burncoat High School coming in the future and Burncoat Middle, Doherty and South and Nelson Place. Every high school, major high school has been done in this school since 1998. I'm pretty proud of my record as a city councilor being part of that and also as the mayor.
Thank you. The order of this next question will be Joe, Ora, and then Christian. Can you describe the ideal relationship between City Council and School Committee under your leadership, and where do you see opportunities for collaboration?
We've always collaborated between the City Council and the School Committee. We did the Education Committee several years back was an issue, so they meet on a regular basis in the previous years to talk about, especially when it comes to the budget, so people aren't surprised. When Worcester Public Schools comes in, they present their budget, the City Council already knows what they're asking for, and we're going to continue to do that. And plus, we have on an ongoing basis, the superintendent gives his State of the Union address, State of the School address, along with myself and the school committee, and out there, and also just talking to City Council on a regular basis on what we need. Because what we need is a new Burncoat and Burncoat Middle School, which I've been advocating for a number of years, and I'm going to continue to advocate until it's completed in the next 5 years.
Thank you. Ora?
Okay, so as mayor, I'll try to bridge the gap between City Council and the school committee through consistent communication, joint planning, and shared priorities. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll try to establish quarterly joint sessions to align the budget and policy goals and ensure that the city's capital plan and school facility needs are developed together. Too often, we see those two operate in silos. So I'll change that. And I'll do that by treating education and city development as interconnected. So we can build a more coordinated approach to resources, transparency, and accountability. And I believe that benefits both our taxpayers and our students.
Thank you. Christian?
Thank you. I want to begin by saying, you know, one of the things that we need in a leader, and what I'll be as a mayor, is someone that doesn't just take credit for successes and then avoids responsibility for either poor services or challenges in our schools. I'll do both, take credit, responsibility, and demand accountability and results. And I do know what I'm talking about. I've been a social worker in the city for close to 30 years. Mayor Petty was with me in that building at Rice Square School, and no one heard about it. Lack of transparency. You know, I coached kids. I spoke to one of the kids' parents at the Jewish Community Center I was coaching who goes to Rice Square School. They didn't even know that their child was having classes in a closet or in a hallway. We need transparency. I bring the school committee together by making sure that I, as the mayor, put on agenda items that brings them together. And if there's an issue with a subcommittee, as the mayor, you have the right to sit in and run that subcommittee along with the folks that are assigned.
Thank you.
This next question is also regarding our schools. We're going to start with Christian, then move to Ora, and then Joe. The district is looking at shifts in school catchment areas in order to ease overcrowding in some of our schools. What are your priorities coming out of those discussions? Christian.
One of the things that we haven't heard tonight, and I'm going to speak about regarding our schools, is equity. We heard Mayor Petty banging the drum about creating schools and building schools and what have you. The question is, has it been done equitably? Is the east side and the west side and north and south Worcester, has it been done equitably? And we have to take that lens. We have to figure that out. That's extremely, extremely important. You know, when it comes to moving our city forward with regards to our schools, we need to make sure that we're centering everything that we do with public input. And that would certainly be a part of my leadership as mayor.
Okay,
Thank
so
you. Ora?
So my answer is going to be brief. I don't support those shifts, and if there are any shifts, I would want some like transparency, open communication with the school committee and parents and residents, and also make sure that whatever is done is not being disproportionately done. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe?
And this has all been done with equity and here in the city of Worcester, what we do. We're going to have to shift right now. We're in the process of looking at that and how we're going to address that. So the classroom sizes can be reduced in the Worcester Public Schools. Some schools are definitely overcrowded and need maintenance. We're going to continue to do that, but it's all going to be done in the public process. Work with CPAC, work with our community partners. We've developed a good family relationship. It's one of the goals here in the city of Worcester, having the family relationship and making sure that families, parents are involved in the decision-making process. And we'll continue to do that going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, for this next question, we're going to start with Christian and then go to Joe and then to Ora. The superintendent outlined his goals for the current year. What are your goals for the administration? How do you plan to evaluate his performance? Christian.
You know, I think one of the most important things that we do as an elected body in the council and on the school committee is managing the superintendent or the city manager. I think we have to establish our own rubrics. We have to establish our own timelines and expectations as it relates to the superintendent, and we have to do it with transparency. This particular superintendent was hired behind closed doors. They came out on the council, on the school committee floor after they made the decisions behind the doors. People are really tired of petty politics and insider games. And the last thing I'll say with regards to the last question, you know, I've called for a projected analysis. We've had a lot of building that's going on here in the city, a lot of new people coming in, and we need a projected analysis on the city side of the impact on traffic, on the impact on our schools, and the capacity within our school buildings. We're waiting on that report from the city manager. As your mayor, I'll make sure that we get those things done.
Joe.
That is totally untrue. That process in the hiring Superintendent Brian Allen was done in public.
That's
I
not
made
true.
that. I'm talking.
That's not true.
Show some
Do
respect
we
once in
have
a while.
rebuttals when he
No, that is true. I brought it to the school committees. I brought it to the Florida School Committee. I gave my reasons why. The people didn't have to vote for it. The school committee voted for it, and so I'm pretty proud of that decision. You get responsibility as the mayor. One is the hiring the city manager. Another is to hire the superintendent of schools. You can go through a process. You can just make an announcement. You can do a search. You don't have to do a search. You can do it any way you want, and but as long as it's done out in the public, and this was done out in the public. And excuse me. Then the question was,
What are your
we have a rubrics already in place that is followed by the state law. We have a rubrics that we evaluate the city manager on, city superintendent on, and we continue to evaluate him on that basis.
Ora.
Okay, so, all right, so I believe whatever goal the superintendent has should focus on closing the achievement gaps. That's modernizing facilities and ensuring every child, no matter their zip code, has access to a world-class education. So as mayor, I'll push for resources to improve literacy and math outcomes, support teachers, and expand vocational and STEM education. I'll also make sure that school safety and student wellness is a top priority. And as mayor, I believe our schools should be places of excellence and belonging, where parents feel heard and teachers feel valued. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving away from school questions. The order will be Joe, Ora, and then Christian. As mayor, you will set the tone for the upcoming session. What is your first item of business? Joe.
There's a number of priorities that we have. It's definitely going to be housing. That's the number one priority. It's going to be how people can afford to live here in the city of Worcester. Valuations have gone up in the city of Worcester because of some of the great stuff we've been doing, but now people can't afford that. Not just in Worcester, it's in the state, it's nationally. but also looking at our unhoused in the city of Worcester. How do you treat them with dignity and making sure they have a place to stay, to get the support and the housing that they need? Those are going to be priorities. But those stuff is going to be priorities, the streets in the city of Worcester. For a number of different reasons, they're a mess this year. We got to make sure those streets are all updated, along with the sidewalks, along with traffic. One of the biggest complaints I'm hearing now is about traffic here in the city of Worcester and how bad it is. When you get an accident on 290, everybody cuts through the city and it's backed up. We're going to continue to work on the school infrastructure. And we've done a great job, and we're going to do it in the future. We're going to plan right now with the city manager and the superintendent and how we're going to pay for that and how we're going to do it over the next several years coming up. We're going to also look at public health and wellness of our residents here in the city of Worcester. We're going to look at public safety, make sure we still keep that high rating of
Thank
public
you very
safety.
much. We're going to move on to our next candidate, Aura.
Okay, so my priorities are in threefold: rebuild trust, expand opportunity, and deliver results. So we must address the housing crisis by expanding affordable housing, protecting tenants, and turning vacant buildings into homes people can actually live. I believe public safety is critical, and I will support our police while ensuring accountability and rebuilding community trust. I also want Worcester's economy to work for everyone. To work for everyone with small business support, youth programs, and workforce development. And finally, I believe City Hall must be transparent and responsive. Open government, smart budgeting, and leadership that listens will make Worcester a city we are all proud to call home. Thanks.
Thank you. Christian?
One of the number one priorities is how we respond to our homeless and our unsheltered. I'll continue to pursue and lead as mayor, revamping and expanding the capacity of Health and Human Services, the lowest funded department in the city, by having more homeless outreach workers, more social workers, and we can do that without increasing the tax budget by looking at our overtime budgets and looking at our vacancy factors. I will champion expanding inclusionary zoning, and having it be more expansive so it makes it more affordable for more people. Joe Petty voted against increased affordability in inclusionary zoning. I will also champion rent control with exemptions for owner-occupied units of 4 or less, and also exempting new construction of homes for 10 years. Also, lastly, operational audits of streets, sidewalks, and we'll implement all those recommendations that have come forward out of my orders.
Thank you.
Our next question returns to the topic of schools. We're going to start with Aura, then move to Christian, and then finish with Joe. As artificial intelligence becomes more integrated into society, what's your position on the use of AI in schools?
Okay, so this is simple. I believe the world is changing. 10 years ago, no one was talking about AI. Now it is. What we have to understand is that AI is here to stay. What a city can do is expand AI access to all schools to make sure that each school, regardless of their zip code, do have access and some training. And we have to believe that the next generation is going to depend on AI, with skills training, workforce development, everything. So we can't stick our head in the sand and pretend AI is nothing. We have to understand AI is here to stay, and we must adapt and improve and benefit from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Aura. Christian?
Yes, I agree. We have to figure it out. Artificial intelligence is here. It's in our high schools. It's in our colleges. It's in our city halls. It's in our workplaces. And we have to figure out how to manage that and still educate the student. I'm all support in my leadership, which will always be by evidence-based research and data. And I think that's what we have to lean upon, and we have to lean upon our state partners who are also a part of this process, and really thinking about how we can use it best for our kids. We need to expand more vocational opportunities in our schools. Perhaps there's a role there. I'd really support an additional vocational high school, to be honest with you. And we need to look at our English language learners. How can that help? Our special ed kids who are now, again, in challenged facilities. Can we use that to advance them? The social emotional learning. Is there an aspect and an avenue within which we can use that technology to lift kids up to enhance their learning capacities?
Thank you, Christian. Joe?
I agree. I agree. AI is the future. We have to look at this. As a matter of fact, we are looking at this in the Worcester Public Schools and developing policies on students when they can and cannot use AI. This is going to be developed. This is going to move very quickly. It's moving quickly now. It's going to move even quicker in the next year or two. And we have to be ready about how we're going to institute. It's almost like the cell phone policy. You got to have the policies in place that these students learn and they learn correctly and making sure that they're meeting the standards that we set for them.
Okay, the next question is very short and sweet. We're going to start with Aura, then go to Joe, and then Christian. What is your view of the role of the mayor?
Okay, I believe that the role of the mayor is to lead by example and unite the city around a common goal. And unfortunately, I don't think I'm seeing that now. So what I will do is, as mayor, I'm going to unite the city around a common goal to make sure that we build bridges, not just talk to people who only align with our political views. The mayor's role is to set the tone so that we can all work around it, and the mayor being let's say the head of state, not just the city not just the city manager. I believe that the mayor doesn't have enough powers, but what we can do is, just like I said, organize around a common goal and fix it. The mayor's role is not only to go to funerals and kiss babies and do that. Those are not. We need a mayor who is strong, energetic, and thank you.
Joe.
It's the bully pulpit is what the mayor's role is to make sure that you look at these issues, you bring people together, which I do. You treat people with respect, no matter what the issue is. You come out with a consensus. You work together. You talk to both sides of the issue. You talk to the school committee. You talk to city councilors. You talk to the state delegation. You bring people in. Otherwise, you just can't get it done. When we went through COVID, I was able to call U.S. senators, governors, and I still do today when it comes to issues. As mayor, you need to have those contacts. We got some major issues coming forward probably in 3 days, talking about fuel assistance and food insecurity and SNAP programs, and that's going to be done with a collaborative effort. Otherwise, you're not going to. We have to work together as a community. I've shown I've worked together as a community, and I'll show that in the future.
Christian.
Thank you. I think the role of the mayor is to keep city government and city business moving. It's to manage matters on the council floor. And under Joe Petty's leadership and with leadership decisions, that has certainly not happened. We've heard of complaints. There's been an absolute attack on public dissent and public participation from the residents. And we need a leader that's able to manage that. We need a mayor that's able to say that difference in opinion and difference in government is not divisive, it's diverse, and able to manage any and all of that. You have to bring people together and vote the right way, not just show up and say things. And you know what? Eureka Street, let's talk about that. I was on the phone with Governor Healy. I was on the phone with the Attorney General. I was on the phone with the District Attorney, Chief of Police, and we all have those relationships. And I'm very proud to be endorsed by Senator Kennedy, Rep. O'Day, and Rep. Keefe.
Thank you. It's a similar line of questions that some of you have already touched on. We'll start with Christian, and then Aura, then Joe. As mayor, you'll be the face of Worcester. How would you advance Worcester's interest in statewide and national conversations? Christian.
Repeat that, please.
Yes. As mayor, you'll be the face of Worcester. How would you advance Worcester's interest in statewide and national conversations?
Statewide and national conversations, yes. Okay. I will do it from the front. We need city leadership that doesn't just react. We identify red flags and we solve problems before they become crises. I will not participate in viewpoint discrimination. I will not participate in creating new rules in the middle of a city council where you can't discuss federal and state issues that impact people on the ground. Right now, we're sitting in it. People are afraid and they're worried about where their next meal is going to come from. All politics are local. And it's all about relationships. I've built those relationships over the last 10 years, and I'll continue to do that. And, you know, I've done my research. Back in 1997, Mayor Petty voted for resolutions about Sudan. He's voted for them for Ukraine. He's voted for them Hamas. And not until he was threatened to be sued for viewpoint discrimination did he allow the resolution on a ceasefire.
Thank you very much. Aura.
Okay, so as the saying goes, no man is an island, and I believe Worcester is not an island. We need to reach across the aisle. We need to engage. We need to talk to people, states, like federal agencies, to make sure that, you know, whatever issues Worcester are facing, you know, we can get help. So one thing is, I'm gonna call for an open communication between our elected officials, and lastly, I'm gonna reach across the aisle, not just talk to people who only believe with my policies or side with me or look like me, but I'm gonna reach across the aisle to all the, like, you know, other states, federal officials, to make sure that the issues that affect Worcester are being dealt with. Thanks.
Thank you. Joe.
I am going to continue to what I'm doing now, making sure we have good relationships with the governor, lieutenant governor, the congressman, the business community, the U.S. senators, because we can't get this through together. Worcester's been really successful because we've all worked together without throwing cheap jabs to people and making sure we have open communication. And on that council, I let everybody speak on that council. I never shut anybody down on that council. People can speak their mind, we're very open to it. I listen to them, and that's what the mayor needs to do, is to listen. And I listen. Now, has this council gotten away from us? Have we learned a lot over the last year? Yes, we have. People are frustrated, people are scared, I recognize that, but you do need rules in order to move the city's agenda forward, and I'll continue to do that.
Thank you.
Our next question is going to start with Aura, then move to Joe, and then finish with Christian. With councilors having clear disagreements on policies and tensions personally as well, how will you, as mayor, build consensus?
So this is simple. Disagreements are healthy. And I believe at some point Thomas Jefferson did cite that. We should encourage open disagreement, but respectfully. We treat each other with respect, no matter their political differences and ideologies. We need a mayor who is not seen as political. We need a mayor who doesn't talk to only people who voted for him or her. We need a mayor who understands, who understands, you know, that our shared vision is in our collective engagement. I'm not going to shut anybody down because they didn't vote for me. I'm not going to shut anybody down because they don't look like me. I'm not going to shut anybody down because their political differences are different from mine. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe?
I agree. Disagreement is fine on the council. It's fine. I treat every council with respect and no disrespect. I don't treat anybody with disrespect. You can speak their minds and move on to the next agenda afterwards. All you do is have an open communication with the city councilors or the school committee members to make sure you move the city forward. Because this is all about the city at the end of the day. It's not about my personal ego. It's not about what I feel personally. It's about listening to people, which I do on a regular basis. People are allowed to speak. And the policies, we can have, I think we've had some great discussions on policies here in the city of Worcester. And whether we agree or disagree, and that's what it should be all about. It's a 6-5 vote or 11-0 vote. It's fine with me.
Thank you, Joe. Christian?
Just repeat the question, please.
With councilors having clear disagreements on policy and tensions personally as well, how will you, as mayor, build consensus?
I want Worcester to win. You know, I'm a former athlete, Teen G All-Star, basketball, high school, college, coached it as well. And what I've learned through athletics is you don't need to get along, you don't need to like each other, but you want to win. And if you're open for a layup for the winning shot, I'm passing you the ball. I take that right into the city council chamber. Mayor Petty labels differing opinions and diverse representation as divisive. He's done it for the last 4 years. I respect diversity of thought and value that as a strength of a healthy democracy. Under the leadership of Mayor Petty, we've seen the city council squabble. We've seen internal and external issues that have not been managed. Mayor Petty has not spoken to all of my colleagues, and he has not bridged the gap. We need someone that's comfortable doing that. It's the most diverse city council in the history of Worcester, and it requires a mindset and requires a temperament that's able to manage through tough decisions and tough discussions, which I do every single day as a frontline social worker.
Thank you, Christian.
All right, this is the final question before we go into closing statements. It's going to start with Joe and then go to Christian and then Aura. The question is, what would you do to promote more citizen involvement in local government? Joe.
I think I show up. I show up to this community for the last over 20 years, going into the community, getting people involved. People respect that. You go talk to anybody, it's about bringing government to the people. People need to get more involved, and we are getting people involved. But not as much the voting, unfortunately, we probably get, all three of us are going to work hard. We'll probably get 20% turnout, and that's unfortunate. And that's always been the case. I continue to go out there, advocate, and civics in the Worcester Public Schools is important, teaching kids students how important civics is, and making sure that they understand the importance of voting, the importance of being participants. I go out into the immigrant community, talk to them, go to the neighborhood meetings, go to the police neighborhood meetings that we have here in the City of Worcester, be part of that, and understand all the different departments and how it works. And be part. Right now, we're probably the most diverse. 10 to 15 years ago, the city boards and commissions are more diverse than they've ever been. And we still have a long ways to go and continue to get more people involved.
Next, Christian.
Thank you. One of the things we have to do is make sure that we're responsive to the people. We've shut down city government in the face of public dissent, and we've shut down city government in the face of public speech, and that's sending the wrong message. We have to have the ability to have some urgency. We have to have the unwillingness to confront institutional issues, and we have to do that consistently. Anything less than that is a failure. I think we all get out to the neighborhoods. We get out into the churches and the schools. But what we really need to do is have a mindset that we're going to not just be inclusive, but we're going to measure our ability to how responsive we are. We have to move from steady leadership to responsive leadership, to responsible leadership, and that's how we're going to move this city forward in 2025 and beyond.
Aura.
Okay. I believe the next mayor should show up, but show up in the right places, not just during funerals or to score political points. Okay, we need more active engagement. We have to step down. I'm going to encourage the city councillors to get to their districts, to attend to the needed issues. People are not voting because they feel disenfranchised. They feel like, my votes are not even going to count. And I'm going to tell you about 80 or 90% of the people who are going to vote for me are first-time voters because they felt City Hall does not listen. All right, and as mayor, I'm going to step to the ground. I'm going to get under the bridges, talk to those guys who are on the house, go to the homeless shelters, let them know that you are all part of the system, and actively we can do better. I think we can also expand that in our school curriculum to make sure that there's more like civic education, the love for city, the love for country. These are things that we should prioritize on. Thank you very much.
Okay, we are keeping remarkable time here. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. And so we're coming into our closing statements. You each have 1 minute for a closing statement, and we'll begin with Christian.
Thank you. I'm asking for your vote on November 4th for mayor and the council at large. And I'm running for mayor because I believe Worcester deserves leadership that works with the people, for the people, and never forgets who we serve. When families couldn't find affordable housing, I've stood beside them. When neighborhoods demand safety and accountability, I'm there. I don't just talk about change, I work to make it happen. I've walked every corner of this city, and I've listened at every door, on the basketball courts, and I know what Worcester is made of: resilience, compassion, and belief that we rise when we lift each other up. This campaign is about us. It's about creating a Worcester where everyone has a child is a safe place to grow, small businesses can thrive, and our seniors are respected. Government must be transparent and rooted in trust. Status quo is not working. We all know it. It's time to turn the page. Worcester deserves a mayor who will fight for fairness, leads with heart, and shows up every single day for the people. And it's not run by the Worcester Chamber. It's not run by developers. It's not run by Timmy Murray. There's one mayor of this city, and I'll make sure it's the person sitting in chambers at City Council on Tuesday night, no one else.
Thank you very much. Aura, you have 1 minute.
Who's next?
Aura, you have 1 minute.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Okay, so Worcester stands at a crossroads. So we can continue down the same path. More than 12 years of the same leadership, the same excuses, or we can choose a future built on hope, honesty, and new energy. I'm running for mayor because I believe in Worcester's promise, its people, its neighborhoods, and its potential. I believe transparency and accountability aren't just slogans, they are tools to rebuild trust. And I believe affordable housing isn't a privilege, it's a foundation of a fair city. This campaign isn't about me, it's about us. The teachers, the parents, the students, small businesses and workers who make this city run every day. And I believe together we can restore faith in our government, open doors that have been closed too long, and make Worcester a place where everyone can rise. Tonight, I'm asking you, let's choose courage over comfort. Let's choose progress over politics. And let's build the Worcester we all deserve together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Joe.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for being here tonight, and I ask for your vote on November 4th. One issue we'll be talking about is leadership. One thing Christian and I can agree on is that we take completely different approaches. I believe that leadership means being collegial, soliciting input, bringing people together towards achieving consensus, that working together we can achieve meaningful things. That approach I have taken as a mayor, and I'm proud of the progress the city has achieved. This is not my opponent's viewpoint, and no greater proof exists than a 2-minute moment on December 17, 2024 at the City Council meeting. I urge everybody to go back and look at that 3-hour meeting. In 2 short minutes, Councilor King labeled the men and women of the Worcester Police Department as uninformed, insulted 3 of my colleagues, Councilor Ojeda, Bergman, and Toomey, by referring them as collectively as impotent, and then lost his composure to the point that he approached the rostrum at me. So when Christian keeps mentioning my leadership, yes, I agree that every differing approaches to leadership. Thank you.
All right, now I'm going to make a very long speech. No, I won't. Just want to thank everybody for coming, the candidates, everybody in the audience, our partners at Mechanics Hall and the Worcester Regional Research Bureau. This is the 5th debate that we've co-sponsored. It's really a privilege. Just want to get everybody, I know everybody in this room is going to go out and vote. Please encourage your friends and family members who are residents of the city to do the same. You can do so early in person at the public library through Friday afternoon, Election Day Tuesday. Have a good night, everybody, and thanks so much for coming. Good night.